to the Fantasy Pavilion, your home for fantasy sports.
Welcome, guys. Welcome back to the Fantasy Pavilion, your home for fantasy sport, and we are back with another F1 fantasy show. And of course, we're not just talking fantasy, but we'll be, of course, talking about the races, and again, trying to explain to you all, break down F1, so, and of course, break down the drivers, so you all could pick the best team as best as possible. Of course, we're joined by Michael, and of course, my great co-host, as usual, Antonio. So Michael, thanks for coming through. Waiting on the rest of, but we have some other guests to come through as always to help us out. So Michael, before we get anything, how was your week? How things going?
Not too bad, but today this week went nice. This week went nice.
All right, solid. Antonio, good. I know we have football to watch later. Everything all right? Otherwise, Antonio.
Yeah, everything was good this week, man. Can't complain.
Nice. So of course, before we get anything, we had Bahrain, right? So Bahrain was the what was the proper term, Mike? The trial run, the practice run. What
F1,
do we call that?
they call it the testing, the preseason test.
So that's where now is it fair to say that is not something really to pay attention to, or yes, do we try our best to pay attention on?
It's good to pay attention to it because usually you'll see. So how it goes usually, like when it is they had the formula set, there's usually one test season, and what people might think crazy about Formula One is that footballers have friendly games that they could play
Right.
throughout the season any point in time. Whereas with Formula One, preseason test is the first time and the only time you get to run your car before the actual race, before the race weekend. So they get 3 days of testing, morning sessions and afternoon sessions to run the car and do all that tests. They hook up these massive rigs on the side of the car to get data about how the air is flowing around the car and that kind of thing, because they build these cars basically in a laboratory, so to speak. And F1 test is the first time where everybody gets to run their car. And that keeps it at a level playing ground, so nobody could say, well, you test your car more than me and that kind of thing. So everybody gets the same 3 days to test. So that's why it's very important. Usually you'll see who car is shutting down. Because if it is your car shutting down in the test, you might have some reliability issues later on in the season when it is back-to-back races, and when it is you're racing, you're pushing your engine maybe 100% more than you would in the test. So yeah, it's very important to give you an insight into who has a good car based on the times they're starting, but at the same time, as they say, take it with a grain of salt because nobody gonna fully show their full hand before the season start.
All right. So here brought up the final listing here. So based on just now we have someone popping in. Okay, cool. Hold on. All right, I'm joined by Carissa. Carissa, thanks for coming through.
Hi guys. Sorry for
We
the
that's fine. We now going to start the boom. Everybody popping in, right. Ezra, boom. Thanks for coming through. You're in time. We now going to talk about Bahrain. But before we get into Bahrain, Carissa, you're new to the show. Let's just get to you really quickly. Why F1? How long are you following F1? Like, intimidate the boys a bit. Let me know how good you know the F1 and why F1. Why not anything else? How long have I watching F1?
admittedly I started watching F1 because of Drive to Survive. I want to say the last 2, 3, 4 years I've been following F1. Not any long-term historical kind of fan to say I could, recite all the history of Cena and all the great Mick Schumacher legends, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not me. But I do enjoy the sport. I think it's very unique and that people underestimate how much goes into it, and there's a lot of value in that. So yeah.
Cool. Ezra, thanks for coming through. How are
Yeah.
you going, bro?
Good. Just finish up some work there.
Right. We
How was
know,
you?
we know gonna touch Bahrain. Just a little thing, just to see how, like, just to touch on the importance of. Well, I was just asking, Mike, like, how important are these testing races? Is this something that we should be investing a lot of thought into, not just for fantasy, but as for the for the season to come? Is this something that we should be paying attention a lot to, or
Yeah, of course. Of course, of
what?
course.
Why you would say that?
Because okay, so I'll say yes because that's how you could see where they stand in terms of the pace, in terms of how they compete against each other. You can anticipate the season, and most times, um, as much as Mercedes will say, "Oh gosh, we're looking slow this year," they's always come and take it. Just last year was just because one last lap is why they didn't take it, but they always make an excuse and say, "You know what? Be slow. We can't
Right.
make it this year," and always come and win the championship.
And then come and win everything.
Yeah.
Chris, you agree with that? Is it important to pay attention or
I
grain of
think
salt?
this. I think over the past years, um, I don't think the importance has measured up as much as compared to this testing, simply because of all the new FIA regulations that dramatically
Very
changed
true.
all cars. So
Yeah.
basically, everybody started from scratch. I was curious the most to see Mercedes because I know that last season, the W13, which is what they tested now, last year they would have had the W12, and the W12 was basically almost the same as the W11, which was the car 2 seasons before, because Mercedes was investing all their research and time into the latest car for this season, because it was just a whole bunch of new regulations as to how the car has to change and all these things. So the whole purpose of that is to make racing more competitive. And I think based on how testing went from Barcelona to the last one in Bahrain, it's very clear that this season is not it's gonna be more competitive than last season, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's
Fair
true.
enough. All right, solid. All right, so let's run through this Bahrain testing lineup here real quickly. So of course we had so we're not seeing Mercedes at all in the top 10 here, right? But we will get to that.
Russell right there, sir. Please,
Russell,
please, one
Russell
time.
is
No, whoa. So we
Brother.
Russell is
whoa.
yes.
Don't do that.
Whoa. Okay, let me say that. We're not seeing Lewis in the top 10 here, right?
Fine, say
Sorry,
that.
I humbly apologize.
You see him
Lord,
back, huh?
they will kill me,
So
right? I
Remember
well,
last
I
year, I just want to
you want Antonio happy day.
Yeah.
Well, so you're seeing Russell, Alonso, Leclerc, Verstappen. No, hey,
There's a lot of things people don't really think about or really appreciate. Like, people look at these listings and yeah, it tells you something, but it doesn't tell you the context of how these cars are driving. Like, Mercedes was on half tank or at least 3/4 tank for almost the whole of testing, which means their car was heavier than most of the cars
And
that were
everybody
driving.
else. So,
They then drive
Mhm.
past fifth gear. So you really don't know how fast the Mercedes can go as compared to the Ferrari or the Red Bull or whatever. But I do think Ferrari is coming out hot, and I
Mhm.
won't be shocked if they're winning races this season at all.
Because something else to take into consideration is the tires. So look if you look at Leclerc. Leclerc put in a 132.4 on the C4 tires, which is the second softest tire. Whereas Verstappen did a 131.7 on the C5. So if Leclerc had on the C5, he probably would have gone maybe
Even
half a
faster.
second, about half
Yeah.
second faster. So he'd have been more or less level or even faster than Verstappen. So that don't honestly look that great for Verstappen because everybody underneath him is on lower tires except for Russell. Russell did his on the C5 and the 122, but um
Correct, so.
as Carissa said,
Mhm.
we only did heavyweight, we did high fuel load runs, so that and all is not a good enough.
Wait, you say? We? Oh, boy.
Yes, we say
You see, get up. You see, we get up. You see, we get up.
and I had the hat to rap my boy Lewis. Shucks.
Yes, sir.
I don't official hat but somebody teeth it, so I only have a Ferrari hat. I'll wear that someday.
I mean, beyond the numbers and whatever, because the whole point of testing is to, as you could look at the numbers on laps that people put in, the Latifi 124, Stroll 53, like it's different. The teams have different aims when they go into testing because it just needs to get the data to see, when the car is running hot, how they're gonna manage that. When the brakes start to overheat, how they're gonna manage that, and all these different factors that they have to take in place. So I think, because look, Alonso did 122 laps, so it's really just about the times and them getting a feel of the new car as much as possible. I like how Gasly is looking going into the season as a dark horse. He's always my dark horse. But yeah.
All right. I like the term dark horse, especially when it comes to fantasy. So I'll take a note of that. All right. So anything else to note before we move on, before we start to preview the Saudi Arabia? So I like the point he was making with Verstappen. So just because he came out on top here does not mean anything at all. And I'm glad I mentioned Gasly. Anybody else that normally that normally don't finish in the top 10 often? Anybody else that is
I mean,
look
it's
alright?
actually as you talk about Gasly, you have his teammate, you have Sonoda who clocked a faster time by him. Just switch back to Gasly and we'll see what tire he
Right,
was
no
on.
problem.
So Gasly puts in his time on the C4, whereas Sonoda puts in his time on the C5. And it's like what? It's 134 versus what's Sonoda's time?
Sonoda's one.
Putting now 133. So that's it. If Gasly was running the C5 tires, he'd have probably been faster than Sonoda. So even that's something to show you that, you had to take Pythagorean as well, because Gasly is not only the more experienced driver, but he's a better driver between him and Yuki. So
Yeah, I agree. And testing is such a funny thing because this would have been the third test out of the three, and I think the two previous Gasly was faster than Tsunoda. So it's really just whatever tweaks they're trying to do to figure out the car and whatever, because they might revert to how the car wasn't tested too, because Gasly will gonna say, nah, I don't like how this changed, this feel, whatever. So it's really just the experimental period for them to figure out how they're gonna go into the race on Sunday.
Yep. Most definitely. She's accurate there. Because then look at Haas. You have Mick Schumacher. You have Mick Schumacher in 8th in a Haas. But in every day he was running,
he finished like second or something.
On the last day he was second. But to take into consideration, why does he could have put in that time? You remember Haas got extra running. And I think he put in that time on after the afternoon session.
Yeah.
Late in the night, so it was a lot cooler.
Low fuel as well. So, yeah.
So to put in a time like that is not impossible. It shows that the car has pace over maybe one lap, but in a race, it can't keep up. So I mean, it's impressive that he was able to do that time. Amazingly enough on his C3 tire, so probably when he put his C5s, he could maybe jump a place or two. But it's very inaccurate because everybody knows Haas has the slowest car. Although when this week on the racetrack, we'll see for sure. But going forward, for now, if we go based on last year, they have the lowest car.
No, in terms of fantasy, guys, right? I know you're not too much on it, but just in terms of fantasy, right? How would based on what we did last week, in terms of the team, now we pick up the team, and in terms of what we picked last week, would you change plenty except for no Vettel really, but would you change anything else significantly? Or anybody else? I like the Gasly touch, I like that. Anybody else you think? Or the Sonoda, I like that. Anybody else you think?
Last week, you all had chose Lance Stroll over Vettel. You all did that, didn't you all?
Yeah. No, well, I know some people might have.
Money.
You're so upset though. You're so upset.
So let me tell you on a budget.
No way. See, I predicted the COVID, so that's why I predicted. So
you knew it was coming.
as I said in the group earlier, Dan, if it wasn't for Stroll father owning that team, the
He wouldn't
best
have a seat
lineup,
dog. He
he
cannot
wouldn't have a
drive.
seat. Exactly.
Drive.
Cannot. Like, that's it. The best lineup would be Vettel and Hulkenberg. So I don't mind if late. I'm not
I
wishing
real
nothing
glad
on
Nico back
nobody.
in his uniform. Like.
I'm not wishing nothing on nobody. But if Stroll got COVID, a Vettel Hulkenberg partnership would be the best thing for Aston Martin.
All right, solid.
That would be the strongest partnership they could form.
And what about Russell? Russell impressed?
I mean, they just testing. They just making sure they can't drive. You know?
yeah,
I'm gonna give
nothing else to
Russell
get.
about 3 races grace, just for transition and pressure and expectations. But after that, it's bare fire if he's not performing.
Nah, he will.
This is
I would want Gasly. I would want Gasly in a Mercedes seat if it were my choice, because Gasly has already come out to say if he's not in a Red Bull seat next season, he's gonna have to look at his options. And I agree with him. He's a real good driver. I'm not saying Sergio is not. Sergio is a beast at defending, and obviously he will always have the Red Bull agenda. He's that much of a team player if it means that he gets to keep the seat at Red Bull. And we know Max not gonna go anywhere with that deal he just signed with Red
Yes,
Bull.
he there for
So
2028.
if Pierre need to do what he needs to do and Russell need to go so Pierre can come in Mercedes, I have no
The
problem.
man even race yet though. Oh gosh.
I
Three
see.
races, 3 more races, Grace. That's all.
I
That's
think
all.
you give him 5. Although I say 5 only
You
because
don't like Russell?
no, Russell is my boy, but at the same time, I'm giving that's why I'm giving him 5. But yeah,
Look at Daniel Ricciardo in McLaren.
he struggled for the whole first half, which was like what?
Yeah,
No,
he's
level
you
of
know,
struggling.
people just rate Daniel real high, and I honestly don't understand why. Like, I
He's
get
fast.
that
He is legit.
I
He's
get that he has
fast.
real charisma and he's a people person. I know you can't hate Daniel Ricciardo. And like he's won, I think, 7, 8 Grand Prix. Those are literally just 7, 8 races in a span of career that spans over how many years? And I'm just like,
yeah, he's
it's
been
like
there
I get,
since
you
2014.
consistently finish in top 10, yeah,
Okay,
sure.
yeah.
But where are the race wins that people seeing you to make you this
No,
Daniel
it's
Ricciardo?
okay.
No, but you have
If
races, right? You have races.
I don't deny his skill at all. Like overtaken, I find like he's one of the best overtakers for sure.
He is one of the best
But-
overtakers.
But
Taking
finish,
notes.
I don't know what is his I don't know what is his
His
He's
consistency
He's
is where they look
he's
at.
never needed to be where he needs to be. Think about it. When it is he joined, I think he was at Alpha first. At Alpha Tauri. No, I think he went straight into Red Bull and he was next to Vettel. And he was next to Vettel when Vettel won the 4 championships. So all focus was on Vettel. And then after Vettel left for Ferrari, they brought in Max. And Max just stole the show. So if that first year with Max in, which was 2015 or 2016,
15.
that was Daniel's opportunity to shine, to show them that okay, I am only #1 driver. But Max stole the show. And ever since then, he's never been in a place whereby they give him priority or they give him focus. The only place they can say they were going to give
Renault.
he
was
had
that
it
when
at
he was
Renault.
at
I feel like he never should have left Renault.
No,
like,
but they didn't give him the. They wasn't focusing on him still, you know.
you fine? I find
Yeah,
that
they were
They
focusing
did.
on rebuilding.
They did give him that chance, but McLaren wooed him away.
you didn't see how Cyril was when he left. Cyril was like
Yes, sir. Was
Cyril didn't want to talk to the man, dog.
yeah,
And I
and
feel
now he
like
has a tattoo.
I feel like he's going to
Daniel
another
Ricciardo every day
team.
of his life.
He's gone to another team where he's clearly not the priority. Everybody knows Lando Norris is the star boy of McLaren. So what and you
No, but he had the opportunity when that guy went to Ferrari. It was Lando was the second driver, but Lando just outperformed him.
No,
What do you
Dan, that was
mean?
the gamble that Daniel had to take, and he lost the gamble.
Yeah.
Because if it is Daniel had gone to McLaren and did what Sainz did when he went to Ferrari, this season they would be giving him a lot more priority, but he just didn't. And that's because he didn't understand how
Because he literally won the Grand Prix he won last season because they told Lando don't overtake and don't race
don't
Daniel.
race, yeah,
That's
there is
literally
Daniel.
the only reason Daniel won. So
Fair.
they need to cushion your ego to give you some confidence to hope you perform as their next driver.
Better later
And
on
that's
in the
trash.
season.
That's trash.
Yeah.
But I understand why it needed to be done. But I just feel like my boy Lando deserved the win, and I will always be bitter over how that race went.
Now he will get more. I think he will get more. And at the end of the day, I know. Well, he's Lando signed till he did a extended contract. So he's there at McLaren for a while.
Till eternity.
No, I could see Lando in a Mercedes, to be honest.
I don't mind him either, honestly.
Because they could have an all British team. Because although Mercedes is a German brand, the F1 team is based in London.
Yeah, they're based in London.
Right now, they already have an all British team because George and Lewis are both British drivers. Lando will be the next British driver. So, I mean, it makes sense. And because he signed a contract for that long, don't mean he's going to stay. Because he put the contract and go other places.
That is true.
And your thoughts about Gasly in a Mercedes isn't too far-fetched because look, you have Albon racing for Williams and Mercedes had to do all those clauses and everything about having Albon a Red Bull driver near the Mercedes engine. So maybe they will make some.
And I feel like the man Christian Horner is, he'll be like, yeah, he wants a spy inside Mercedes. So yeah, Gasly, go. Get some experience.
Even so, Gasly will need to
Yeah, Gasly not getting opportunity.
We'll
nah,
see.
Gasly bad mind.
Like,
Gasly
that
wants
seat,
Red Bull.
when Lewis is gone, is the biggest question mark in F1 after.
Nah, you're going to get
Because even people look at this Trini. I don't know much about him, but apparently he's like the guy who won F2.
You know who's going in that seat?
Everybody's
going in that seat.
Pistrini. P-I-S-T-R-I.
Piastri.
Him. People rate him highly as well, and he's supposed to be a Mercedes driver too. So it's really to see
now,
what
they decide how Russell performs this season. If Lewis, I know Lewis probably gonna retire after he get at 8, and
you feel so? I feel like he won 10. I feel like a nice round number, like 10, and then he go be like.
Well, if he got it the last season, I feel then I would agree with you. But I agree with Mike. I feel he might call it quits with that 8.
After he get at 8, he'll be like, I've done everything. I at the top. Nobody else could really challenge him because Max is the only other who will champion on the grid with a fighting chance. Because fine, yes, you have Alonso who has 2 titles, but Alonso is already near his 40s?
14, I think.
Yeah. Then you have Vettel who has 4 titles, but
no, in a decent car. No top team is gonna take Vettel again. Yeah.
Exactly. He's on the decline. So the only other person I could maybe challenge that is Max, and Max already say he'd really care to win that many championships.
I feel like that's lies, but
it is lies. But once Russell around, Russell will give him a run for his money. So I think after Lewis leaves, Russell will be the Mercedes wonder boy.
Well, we hope so.
And Ocon, come on.
Yes, Ocon. Yeah.
Ocon.
Right. Fine.
Ocon is the next potential man to take that Mercedes.
But as it is, Ocon is the man to take this seat after Lewis leave.
Mm-hmm.
Russell will get elevated
to
number 1.
Yeah, I don't remember who managing Ocon.
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying no, but I know.
Is that who giving this thing?
The world is a businessman, and if somebody could win races or finish in P3, P4, and you in a mid-level car, there might be a situation where he let Ocon go Mercedes, and then actually no,
Ocon won a race last year though in an Alpine.
Exactly, in Alpine.
Yeah, but the
Russell still win a race yet.
Did he really
granted,
did he really
Ocon run that race because Alonso held up Lewis for like 5 or 6 laps. That's the only reason he won that race. But give him fair, he won the race. He kept off Vettel. He did good. In an Alpine at the end of the day. In an Alpine.
Maybe the seasonal change my mind. We'll see how he does, and then I'll give him an ease and see.
So what is the Let's talk about Saudi Arabia before we dive into the fantasy team and all that, right? So what's the history? Who normally doesn't do well in Saudi Arabia? Who won it last time? We know who did, but for the viewers and people, for the
You mean
newcomers,
Bahrain?
right?
Bahrain,
No, Saudi Arabia, previewing Saudi Arabia now, Saudi Arabia. It's not
Bahrain
the
is
first.
race on Sunday.
Was back. I don't know why Saudi Arabia in my head. I am very sorry. I
Oh,
don't
this is
know.
the
So
last season.
I don't know why Saudi in my head. I don't know. Sorry, but I see that good thing you all here. Right. Sorry. So Bahrain, what's the history? Who won it last time? Who's the bogey? Who normally doesn't do too well in Bahrain, or not just Bahrain, but the opening, right? Who's the bogeys, right? So talk to me there. Break down that first for the newbies and
Well,
who
everybody is a bogey this year because they know what's gonna happen.
Well, that's it. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
and Bahrain
It
is usually
literally
one
doesn't
season
matter
before.
who used to do well, who
Exactly.
didn't do well. Everybody's in a new car. Like
Everybody
That's
going on
what
drive.
last year.
experience only
Max
track
and
in
Lewis
that
fought.
car would have been testing, the last testing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Max
So-
and Lewis fought hard last year in Bahrain. That was real tantalizing. And Lewis actually just clipped him on the end. It was like they finished in what?
Barely made it. Barely made it.
It was like a second gap or something at the end of the race. It was very close. And
It's ridiculous.
Max had to give back the position because he went off the track kind of thing. So
Yeah, he took the
Damn.
position off the track.
yeah, so if the cars can keep up with each
So
other,
that's like a thing. If you take the position off the track, you normally get a penalty for that.
yeah, and penalty will give the position back.
Yeah. Well, in this case, the penalty was
It's a race where Lewis has generally done well. I think he's won it like 5 times. So obviously, he's
Okay.
people with long careers are familiar with the track and whatever. So I guess that's the advantage that they have. But other than that, I feel like it's a very level playing field for many of them.
Well,
So-
I'm looking back here. So they're saying I can show it to you all quickly. Let me share the screen. Right. So now watching it here. So on this, so this showing. So since 2017, so Vettel in 17 and 18, and then of course Lewis 19, 20, and then 21.
21.
All right. So Lewis has been dominating, as you said, for the past few years on that track. So not too bad from Lewis at all. But based on again, I know you said not much to take on it, but it's just as much. It's just something to use as a guide, right? Anybody you think now you saw Vettel win the first one, but you're saying that man, I know Vettel is ill anyway, right? But who you think could upset and jump in the top 5, top 10? Not necessarily win, because let's say you go with Lewis, no problem. Who you think could come and surprise us?
Any Ferraris?
Ferrari definitely
Yeah.
making the podium. I agree. At least
Surprise.
Any Ferraris could take that.
Let me look at it.
And Lando.
Ah, boy.
Big up the Norris. Big up all the time. Big up all the time.
McLaren has looked okay. It hasn't looked amazing, and I think the McLaren even before was a difficult car to drive, as people would describe it as being.
And they had the
That Lando just had whatever technique that Lando uses to drive just suited the McLaren vehicle as to why he was able to dominate so much and why it was so difficult for Daniel, because Daniel felt as though he needed to like change his whole style of driving to adjust the car. Yeah, so I don't know, and then especially with him being out and sick and whatever, how he was not COVID but sick. I don't even know how Daniel is gonna do this weekend either. He is, I'm guessing like a P14 for sure.
No, well,
No
that's the thing.
disrespect. No
That's the
disrespect.
thing. The reason why Daniel suffered is because Daniel prefers a car that understeers, whereas Norris prefers a car that oversteers. I mean, McLaren naturally oversteers, so that's why Daniel catches tail. So that's why he had to essentially change his driving style. Then I think there's 4 teams with possibly race-winning cars, which is Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, and fine, we'll put the McLaren there for arguments.
Yeah.
Although something to consider is that
Yeah.
I like Ezra.
McLaren brakes was over testing, and then Bahrain is usually a hot track. Although and that's why they run the race in the night, because if they run it during the day, it's just gonna be too hot. So that's something that McLaren has to worry about if their brakes are going to overheat. So if it is fine, I think any of the drivers from any of those 4 teams, so Lewis, Russell, Max, Charles, or Sainz, or Norris could win. I'm leaving out Sergio and Daniel because I honestly don't know. I honestly don't believe either of them could win a race because
Sergio has looked unimpressive in Preston for me. Even though his last test was okay, I didn't really like. He seemed out of form, so I
Yep.
don't know if he's gonna need time to get back to the beast that we know him to be. But yeah, he looked a bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we just have to remember there's a whole new car, you know. It'll take them like at least
Yeah, new
3,
car,
4
but you
races.
don't have to be spinning off the track in a circle and dirt and thing now, boy. You can keep it on the road, even if it's a new car. It's 4 wheels, you have brakes.
They're testing the limits. They're testing the limits to see how far
You're
you
making
can
it sound like they're driving a Corolla, we?
I think that
A cube.
we
Wow.
no, but they had a test. They had to see how far they could go, you know,
To be fair, yeah. That's
before to see if they could spin, if they could go turn faster, you know. They
I
had
mean-
a test.
And then to jump over a massive part of testing with these side pods there, but that's a story for a different day.
Hey, side pods. You know, Mercedes is the only team that didn't have the opportunity to do the wind tunnels.
Yeah, because they won everything, so they give them no research and development time.
Yeah.
I mean,
So was the break it down for again? I'm asking new questions. Please forgive me. Right, I have to act and represent all the noobs. So break it down for me. How does the weekend work? Right. So is the first week. First is the opening weekend. What happens from? Because I know the bacchanal starts from Friday. So break it down first. What happens
Thursday,
Friday,
boy.
Saturday, Sunday?
No,
Wow.
but Saturday, though.
I would say Thursday.
You say from today is Saturday.
Yeah.
So what happened today? So break it down from today all the way down to Sunday. What's happening? What happened? What's going on? Talk to me. For the noobs.
Huh.
So
Well,
Thursday they usually do driver interviews and team interviews. So all the team bosses and thing they will do interview sessions with everybody. Then Fridays is FP1 and FP2, free practice 1 and free practice 2. Basically, go out on the track and go as fast as you want, see how you car feeling on the track, have fun.
Okay.
Figure it out. So you have FP1 and FP2 on Friday. On Saturday, you have FP3 in the morning and then qualifying in the afternoon. And that's Q1, Q2, Q3. And then on Sunday's race.
yes, sir.
All right. Again, new question. I have to ask. So how much laps we sit in for? How much laps do we sit on? We have to sit on what? How much laps?
For Barry,
I don't know how much is
It's
Barry.
not standard for every race. It depends on the line, the distance of the track, and what the time there is as well. So sometimes it's in the 50s, sometimes it's 63. So really, I'm really not sure how much laps Bahrain is, to be honest.
right? So it's usually around 57 laps.
Okay. Solid.
Give or take.
So you might be watching about 60 laps, which is good fun. Waking up early Sunday.
But if we breaking down the weekend for everybody to understand, I think an important part of the weekend for people to understand is qualifiers, why it's segmented into Q1, Q2, Q3. Because after you do the first set of qualifying, you have to finish in a certain level to go into, you have to finish in the top
15, 10.
You have to finish in the top 15 to qualify for the second round qualifiers. And then you have to finish in the top 10 to finish in the last, to see how fast you go, to see if you can get pole in the last Q3. So it's not just that everybody gets to qualify or try to qualify at the fastest time 3 times. So you get eliminated after the first round if you don't finish up in the top 15. Then you get eliminated in the second round if you don't finish in the top 10. And then that makes up the race. The standings at the end of Q3 will make up the race on Sunday where everybody starts. But for penalties or any kind of drama that might happen in qualifying, if somebody needs to change a gearbox, that might send them back to the back of the grid, or any kind of random thing that might happen. But otherwise, that's generally how qualifying leads into the race on Sunday.
So when when FIA gives Lewis his standard penalty, right, and puts it back down fifth, and then he come and still win. That's what you need to say. You could use an example. Use the example. Don't be afraid. Don't be frightened. Use a good example,
We need to
right?
be
I mean, if you
we
use
need to be
Brazil, it's 25
impartial,
places.
although we have our biases. We need to still somewhat be
I
impartial.
have no bias. I'm a Okan fan, so I really have no. I just follow another example. If you know other examples, that's the one fresh in my mind, Carissa.
Anybody who doesn't know what is gonna lean towards Lewis because everybody knows Lewis Hamilton, even if they don't follow F1. So speaking of only black man, when they're supposed to release the Abu Dhabi report by now,
I think it's actually coming out tomorrow.
the same Sunday, the same race Sunday.
It's either, I think it's the morning, it's Sunday, or it's either Friday or the morning or the Sunday, something so.
Okay.
But he's the only black
I
man.
know it's not gonna be
That's
anything
important.
important, and they're not gonna change anything, but still
I'm
gonna
just happy to fire Michael Sapp.
He's not fired, he's
Not
just
fired.
relocated,
Fine,
Yeah.
Fine.
demoted, you know.
Yeah, reassigned.
But the agenda is strong. They don't want
It
Lewis
is.
to break Schumacher's record. He's a black man driving a white man's sport. The agenda is strong, and we do it.
Yup.
That's why he go in though. Come on.
That's
Gotta make it.
why the man fired up. You hear his comment. And see, thing, he said, if you thought last year was my best, wait until you see
Wait
this.
to see next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I say how to make it exciting. If he had to win that consecutively, right, and he had get that 8, it wouldn't as matter as much as if he win this one here. Because then you'll be like, okay, cool. But the fact that you have a big rivalry now between him and Max is, dog, more money in he bank.
I get where you're coming from. Okay, fine. It's gonna be a bit more tense. It's gonna be more drama this year, sure. But I don't think they're gonna make it any less special because
Not less special, but more like
Dog, I was
awareness in
so
the sport.
after so many races, and it was the 12th or the 13th race that I had just made up my mind that the car is the car. This is the best he could do with the car, which is P2, and Max is gonna win, and that is just the facts. But
No, but he was winning that last race.
what?
No, but he was winning that last race.
I said like at the point of the season, like after the 12th or 13th race, when we just had Red Bull P1, 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 P1. I was like, okay, it is literally the car. This is the best he could do with the Mercedes as it is. And okay, and you can see he had even himself had resigned in some kind of way, but it was really after that Brazil win that he was like, nah, I over this. This man, I'm not taking this lying down. And he just come back so strong, no matter what. And I felt like how it transitioned to a place of despair and resignation as Red Bull is gonna win. And then you just had so much hope. And then we reached the place where Mercedes Lewis is going to win. This is literally the last three laps of the race, no question. And then for it to end how it ended, I feel like he needed to win. Like it would have been the whole culmination of the story of how the season went.
Because he fought back in the season, and people tend to forget that Max is winning back to back. And as you said, the car wasn't the best. Red Bull had the better car over the course of the season. But he fought back, he didn't take it line on, as you say. Especially in Brazil, the man, look at that, the man had to basically came from 25th on grid. Mercedes knew he was going to have a penalty because they changed the engine. So, worst case, he was supposed to start 10th. Worst case scenario. And my boys start the end of the sprint race at the back. Fight the sprint race all the way into 5th. And then take the penalty and drop to 10th. No, actually, that's the worst case would have been starting the race in 5th position. Because that means if he qualified the sprint race on pole, he would have gotten, and then take the 5th place grade penalty, he would have started off in 5th place. So in the race, they were planning, okay, worst case scenario, starting off in 5th place. But then they find that thing about his wing, the rear wing, which in my opinion, was caused by Max Verstappen touching the man wing. Don't touch shooting because it was it's 0.02 over what, a millimeter.
This one was like 0.01 millimeter over, some kind of nonsense. And I was just like, oh,
Exactly.
they're not serious,
I
boy.
pushed in my finger and applied and forced to do that. So that was max fault, and it was what, 50,000 pounds. That's not enough. You're making millions, or they're gonna charge them a little 100,000 or something. Shucks. But yeah, and then you're dropping to the back of the grid for these sprint race. That's 20. He's in 20th place, and then he fought the entire sprint race back from 20th to what, 5th. He passed 15 cars. Just fly past them going. And if that sprint race was longer, he probably would end up in front at some point in time. And then he took his 5th place. He started racing 10th, and he fought and went back to first. Now, nobody can tell me O is always the car. Lewis fought. You can put Schumacher, Mick Schumacher in a Mercedes, and he still will not be able to drive it like how Lewis drives the car. You put Lewis in a Williams, and he will still drive it better than a guy at Williams long time. You can't deny the man's skill. But then again, I just
At least,
so whatever.
at least Netflix gonna make a meal out for this.
I'm so over Drive to Survive. I can't even bring myself to finish the last season because it just feels so reality showish now. Like it's lost all essence of the just literally documenting the season. It's literally all these theatrics, and I can't stand Christian Horner. It is literally the Christian Horner show. Like he comments on everything. His face is everywhere. Like you can't watch a show without seeing his face within like 3 minutes. I was like, I don't want to watch this. I don't want to watch this.
I actually stopped watching after the 2019 season. I stopped watching Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
I felt like from then it became two reality shows, and it's like
after the first 2 seasons, you could definitely stop. Like you know enough.
After the first 2 seasons, fall in love with Formula One and stop driving. Stop watching Drive to Survive.
Just stop.
Basically. But yeah.
Anything before we touch the fantasy vibes or anything else that we should be? Anything else? I like how you broke down that Carissa there. In terms of how important the weekend is and the qualifying stages for the noobs. Anything else that we should break down? Anything else that we should look out for? Touch on? Anything else before we touch the fantasy? Because I have some stuff here, some guides with the fantasy.
I think one of the most important, but to some extent one of the most difficult things to understand in Formula One is strategy. Like the things that teams do. So like even in qualifying, there's strategy in play. Do you keep your driver in the pits and see what times everybody else sets in on what tires and then send him out? But then he might get traffic on the track so he can't push all out, or do you send him out as soon as he lights turn green and just go as fast as possible and see what happens? So like there's strategy in qualifying, and then in the race itself. So everybody loves Formula One pit stops that take under 2 seconds to change 4 tires on a car.
That's only Red Bull though, like we be honest. If
Okay,
it's one
fine.
thing I get
Under
Red
2
Bull,
seconds.
I feel like they don't practice and then they sleep though. They have pit stop to a T compared to everybody else. But
Fine. The average pit stop is under 3 seconds.
Yeah.
We can agree on that.
Yeah.
Right. So to change 4 tires in 3 seconds, even you changing your road car, you just take what, 10-15 minutes. So to do that is really impressive. And in the race, you had to take that into consideration because you have to stop at some point in time during the race. So do we stop before? Do we stop after? Something news or persons watching Formula One for the first time will hear the commentators saying is, okay, he's going for the undercut or he's going for the overcut. And so what the undercut is essentially is, say I am racing against you, you're in front of me, and we're both on the same tire, and we're both racing hard, they're both wearing down. You ever remember, you ever play Gran Turismo, and you see the little counters to the status of your tires? Right, so your tires are wearing, so as you drive more and the harder you drive, especially, your tires wear, you get less grip, that kind of thing. So the undercut is essentially, I pit before you get fresh tires while you continue driving. But the idea behind it is that my tires are fresher, so I could make up the time that you pull away, so that by the time when you pit for your pit stop, I just fly past you. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the undercut. But then there's the reverse where there's the overcut, whereby I just drive as much as I could drive on the set of tires, whereas while you pit, and then I'll just pit later on, and I will come out on brand new fresh tires, whereas your new set of tires done halfway through its life already.
Mm.
So they did that. So Red Bull did that with Sergio Perez a lot last year, whereby everybody was doing, say, maybe 20 laps on these soft tires. Sergio was doing 45 laps on the soft tires, and just pulling these massive distances on these tires. It's for fresh tires, and yes, fine, a couple of people pass him, but he's on fresher tires than everybody else on the track, and he'll just make up places. So that's essentially one of the things. That's one of the biggest strategies teams use, whether it's the undercut or the overcut. Everybody uses it for whoever their main rival is at the time, whether it's in the front of the field, the midfield, or well, the tail end of the field.
All right. Ezra, what's your take on that? What's Ferrari strategy normally? How Ferrari normally tackles? Was there tricks?
I don't watch Ferrari. Like.
I'm a McLaren, man.
I just harassed the video. I just harassed.
Yeah.
I had harassed.
Yeah, Ferrari. I don't really see their strategies as clear as I see other strategies. I don't know, boy.
They have problems strategizing.
Yeah, they love. I don't know. I don't know how to tell about Ferrari, to be honest. But they're not as clear as like a Mercedes or a Red Bull, you know.
Yeah.
I think too, because of how they cover F1, it's always difficult to observe the mid-level teams more, because they always want to look at who are the top teams and who are fighting each other. Like, what is the Mercedes strategy? What's the Red Bull strategy? Only when things get like super competitive and interest, like, and we have Ferrari doing this, and we have McLaren doing this. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's really tough to get insight into what's going down below the top running teams, which I think is unfortunate. But that's just how it does go sometimes.
And because on some
It's not like a football field where you can watch the entire field and know the pass.
No, well, they do the same thing. They do the same thing in football. They do the same thing in football because you'll be watching a player, and because you're not seeing, like, it compared to watching on TV and watching live, it's two different things.
Right.
So we might be watching a player on TV and saying, yeah, you're having a trash game. If you watch him live and he's watching how we covering and playing off the ball, it'll be whole different. So I completely understand. I understand where you're coming from. For sure. For sure.
And as you say, it's unfortunate. There's like so many best battles happen in the midfield. And
Right.
at the end, we'll be like, that was such an amazing battle that these two people had in the midfield, and then people who watch on the TV will be like,
Wait, what? They highlight. What about it?
So that's that's one of the big things they need to fix.
Yeah, especially if you tell yourself as a driver, well, all right, 1 and 2 settled, right? We're not fighting over 1 and 2, but 3, 4 up for grabs, and you put a nice fight in the last 5 or so laps, last 10 laps. Yeah, I could imagine a great finish coming on to the end there. And then sometimes you're watching somebody like Leclerc far behind, and all of a sudden, bam, Leclerc up top.
Sometimes you're watching the name going up, and you're like, what's going on? I would like you all to change the screen so I can see what this man is
exactly.
And jumping up on the positions, yeah. I think what they need to do more is that they use these drone shots in the like filming days and thing. Use drone shots during the race. Fine, they use a helicopter, but put 5.
No, but you know they have on the F1 site, you could pay the subscription and get full views of all cars.
Capitalism, you see, Babylon. I had a
You can watch every car.
So why?
You have F1 TV money.
No,
I don't have a subscription, to be honest. I ain't gonna lie. I buy one. I pay it.
It's just $2.
What's about them is that you could only log in 2 places. So if I log in on my phone and I log in on my laptop, I can't give my password to somebody else to log in. They'll be like, you are logged in 2 locations already. That's it.
So what? It's just £2?
Nah,
It's US per month.
yes, yeah, per month.
Yeah.
It's $2.99.
But I mean, it's real good coverage, to be honest.
So it's
Yes.
$3 a month.
You could change the
Yeah,
screen.
you can get as far, you can go as far as get access to the radios,
Yeah,
the
and
radios and listen time.
more like way more post race interviews and the post race shows.
Yeah.
They're just trying to
No, I used it. I used it. Not this race. Not this season. The season before. Yeah, it was real good. I was like, whoa! It was. Yeah. Yeah. It was lit.
Okay, well, I'll take a subscription.
Yeah,
So-
Okay.
Yeah. Take a trip. Take a trip.
It's not expensive.
at least for this season, you know.
Yeah. For number 8. At least take it for number 8.
I'm making.
Alright, fine. I'll take him for the credit card tonight. Let's go.
Let's go.
So, as we easing into the fantasy talk, right? So, there's this guy from Twitter, FPL Joe Linton. I want to shout him out. He gave us a nice breakdown of things that we know already, things that we don't have to go on the site to find, right? Things that we know already. I'll read it out because the graphic might be a little bit tiny, but I'll break it down real quickly. So he was just breaking down the terms that we'll come across in the fantasy. So in terms of turbo driver, excuse me.
Right.
So the turbo driver, something like the captainship that we will use in fantasy football, but the catches that it cannot be put on it has to be put on someone, 20M or less, right? So it cannot be put on your Hamiltons or your George
Oh, yeah,
or your
George.
Verstappens, right? Anybody that's high up like that at all. So, and I like that. I find that very cool. So you have to pick the right driver and you put the turbo on it. And then you have the mega driver now, the mega driver chip now, so the turbo driver is 2, you get double the points that the driver will make. So just like the captain chip in FPL or UCL. Then you have the mega driver chip now, which it multiplies your score by 3, so it comes like triple captain. Right?
Mm.
Right, and that one has no price limit. So you can put that one on anyone, right? So that one you could, if you know you're confident in Lewis in a particular race or Verstappen, any one of them, and you want to rest on them soon, right? But we'll work out on how we do in our strategies, right? We'll do a chip strategy show sometime soon, and then of course it's a wildcard chip, just like in the football fantasies, where they allow you to make 12 subs for a particular race week. And of course, you can regularly make 6 subs during the course of the race. You can make up to 6 subs per game week. And of course, your deadlines, which is very important because we who play FPL know how important deadlines are. We have a deadline very soon, Antonio. I have to organize my team by tonight because tomorrow is FPL. And I think for F1, I will also recommend that you organize your team by tonight because what I'm reading here, the deadline normally, as the qualifiers start, that is it. That's when the deadline is in because you get points for the qualifiers.
So technically
right?
Saturday morning.
Technically.
But that's a risk too, because
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
you'll watch FP3 and then you'll be like, yeah, I'm like, no, no. So yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Right, start one time. Do not stick. So organize your team now. If it's not organized, we're gonna do a final team selection in a bit. But coming from an FPL standpoint, Antonio, we know how it is. Don't wait. Do not tell yourself you have time. You never have time. Right?
Don't
Pick
drink
your
and pick the team.
Right, yeah, don't drink an F1 fantasy, right? That's the same rules that we use. Of
Go
course.
drink and pick your team.
Right? Please do that soon.
Yeah, like
So,
we're gonna triple captain both us.
oh my God. You catch me off guard there. Wow. So
The captain of
Stop it.
boy, now, well, at least Pookie bring better returns than certain member. We wouldn't go there. It's not that kind of show. Don't start, man. So let's start. Let's just break down the points real quickly. So just again for the people playing for the first time. So you're getting points from the qualifiers, guys. So I think that's the beautiful thing I love about F1 fantasy. They're very generous with their points, right? They're not very stingy. You can get points anywhere, anyhow, once you pick the right racers, right? Let's get that clear, right? Once your boy finishes your race, you're inside points.
Inside.
So Q1, so once you have Q1, Q2, Q3, so you're getting 1, 2, and 3 points respectively. Once you've qualified better than your teammate, right? So once your racers qualify better than their teammate, you're getting 2 points for that. So pay attention to that. And again, if your person didn't qualify, you get -5, right? And if they get disqualified from the qualifications, they get -10. So pay attention to that. Right? So
Madness.
as much as they're generous, they're
Dude,
willing to get the minus. Go ahead, Ezra.
disqualified is like a man get a dread penalty and he carries.
Right. So it's not something that's very common, or let's not. It's not that simple,
Okay.
Yeah,
no?
and now it's coming.
Actually, if you think about it, the last person that got disqualified from qualifying was Lewis in Brazil.
And we know how that finished.
That's why he had started the back of the grid for the sprint race because he got disqualified.
Right.
So it's not impossible, but it's usually unlikely.
Right. But we know and we know how that finished. We know what went on there.
Exactly.
So, and then on the race day itself now, so you're getting again similar to the qualifying, you're getting 1, 2, and 3 points per sorry. So you finish the race, you get a point per position. So let's say per position gain, you're getting 2 points for that. You finish ahead of your teammate, you're getting 3 points for that. Fastest lap. Oh my goodness, 5. All right.
Wait, I
I like
have
that.
a question here. So
Go ahead,
basically,
go ahead.
if per position gained, right, max 10 points, right? So let's say somebody who starts in the back, like, and he just passing man dog. That's maybe my per position gain,
So
or that's what
what I read it
the
as
thing?
it's in reference to the qualifying positions. If you started the race in 5th and you
Right,
finish the race in
in
1st,
first.
that means you make 4 passes.
So that's
You get 8
yeah,
points.
so that's 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
you can't start. So you could start in, let's say, start in 10th, and during the race you make it up to say 5th. But then something happened, you end the race in 10th. You wouldn't get. I don't think you would get any points,
Any points.
because
You then finish with the places you gained.
Right.
exactly you
But
finish with what you start.
most you can do is just 5 positions basically.
5 positions. So the best you can
Is the max
do. So I mean, you could do more, but you're only going to get up to 5,
to 10 points.
up to 10 points. So you can
Yeah.
start in 10th and finish first. You
Yeah, I
just
was
gonna
gonna
get
start
full
in the
10
back,
points.
you know, and make sure I get out of time.
Nah, that go hurt you.
So what you're saying is pick a
Because I'm
McLaren
in
racer.
front. Yeah, basically, Orlando all the time. But basically, a man like who starts in the front, he wouldn't be able to get them 10 points because he in the front.
Yeah, yeah.
If anything, you could get minus
Pole.
points.
No, but remember pole position. I didn't touch on that. Pole position getting 10 points,
Yeah, I know.
from the qualifying, Pole position getting 10. So you can't be too greedy. Don't be greedy now. Right? Pole position getting
But
10.
that's the same 10 again. Oh, true. Fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But then that's something to consider too. If a man starting safe first and he lost them 5 positions,
Positions.
he minusing them 10 points they are gaining
You see?
because you're losing 2 points every.
Yeah,
every
pole
place.
position loss. Yeah, when you lose there, pole
Yeah.
position loss -2. Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, boy. Real, it's
You want to get better than
special.
the law, take it away.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. So, and then
Fastest
of
lap.
course, fastest lap, we love that, right? I'm gonna pay attention to that the most. I like that. I realize to a lot of the now. Please forgive me again. You all to clarify. To me, I mean, I know it's not something set in stone or black and white, but I will always go for the second. I will go for the teammate for that. Like I will bank on the teammate
To
getting
take
that.
that fastest lap.
Yeah, I know it's not something set in
Yeah,
stone, or,
because
but I will, you know.
it happened like Seb, who used to just drive fast for no reason. Like he had fastest lap in a race already. This one race, back in 2013, he had fastest lap, and he teammates telling him, "Yo, slow down, you're lapping people, dog, slow down," you know. But so I mean, it have other people who could drive like that too, you know.
Yeah. Right. And then of
And
course,
it's all about who
but
put on the right tires at the right time.
Yeah.
And then some interventions with the fastest lap is that they only consider you getting the fastest lap if you're finishing in the top 10. So an example is I think Sonoda finished, I think in 12th or 15th, and he had the fastest lap of the race, but he didn't get the point fit because he wasn't in top 10.
Okay.
Does this apply in this point system?
That's it. I don't know if it applies in this case here.
In F1, in the fantasy, all right. I'll have to check that. I'm glad I brought it up. I'll have to check that.
So in actual point scoring for like drivers championship and stuff, you get 1 point if it is you have the fastest lap of the race, provided you finish in top 10. But I don't know if they're going to do that in the same way for the fantasy.
Well, I guess they might leave it like that.
Yeah.
Solid. Let me see what else is important. Yes, let's look at some of those minuses. The minuses scaring me the most because there's some heavy. I mean, Antonio, when we get a red card, a -2 here. If we concede a few goals, a -1 or dependent. But oh gosh, we're a -10 and 20. Pressure in the campaign. Antonio, we're not accustomed to these figures, right? There's some heavy figures, but in comparison to what they could gain. And once you pick the right races, the correct driver, the correct constructor, I think you might not have anything to worry about. First place getting 25 points. My goodness.
Yeah, that's one points.
So imagine if I put my turbo driver on somebody really good and once in a while they come first, once in a while they come second, because look at second getting 18 and then again 15 for third. That's not too bad. You pick the right turbo driver. And you get that double there. So, and even being greedy, if your turbo driver comes third a few races in between, or let's say even fourth or fifth, right? That's 10, that's 20 with the double there. That's not too bad. And then
basically coming
and they pick up a few things.
Yeah,
and I'm not gonna sit down. You had a fastest lap. You're bad, right? You're real bad.
On top of that, he passed 2-3 people.
Yeah, he gained a few positions from the qualifying. Exactly.
Yeah, points can
right.
Yeah, your points. The Norris had a pick for that way.
Hey, that's the man
Yeah,
who is
Norris
my
is
two.
that
That's the two.
I'm like, oh, what his point is like curious, but then again, how much he is, like 20 something.
No,
Is
Norris
it?
is 17.
No, Norris
No,
not
no.
so expensive.
No, not Norris. Ferrari boy. Look crazy.
No, the two Ferrari boys are 18 and 17 now. So I actually have my turbo drivers as the Ferrari guys, and well, I put Norris as one of them, but yeah, mainly Ferraris.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to touch on the constructor points real quickly. So if you on the extreme right here of the table, so we have the constructor qualifying, right? Both drivers qualifying the top 10. Right, for the 3 weeks in a row. Oh, so this overtime streak. So it's like a streak thing. Okay. You can get some points. You can get some residual points. All right, I like that. You can get some phantom points even though you're getting points. All right, interesting. Very, very interesting. And then if they are in the race now, both drivers finish in the top 10 for 3 races in a row, you get a 10 points. All right, not bad. Very generous with the points, but as we can see though, they're very generous with the minus points. It's sticky. Now it's sticky way, but we will see.
What not classify means?
Say that again. I guess if they didn't even I think not classified might be what not coming in the top 10. Yeah.
Did not finish, kind of.
If they did not finish the sprint race, if you crash in the sprint race or your car breaks.
Yeah, but that's what DQ means.
No, that would be something else.
Right. Disqualified. That's what DQ.
Disqualified is different.
Okay, so
disqualified is like what
disqualified.
happened to Lewis or something.
Yeah. DNF is literally did not finish. I don't know why they
Yes,
don't.
I guess it's not classified with DNF.
Yeah.
Not classified.
Not classified would be DNF.
Nice.
They actually have the definitions on the page.
Nice.
All right, time to bring up the action now, and let's trigger Carissa. Like how Carissa was triggered from the start. I like that. She didn't like a particular race. I like that. So
why you all pick him over Seb?
Has Cashflow ever performed other than in a pink car with an illegal engine or whatever illegal was when the race?
Hey, that's only
The whole of last season, he has done nothing in his father's green card. He's
Wow.
that's
Wow. Are we gonna get cancelled, Michael? Are we gonna get cancelled, Michael?
That's
Michael,
Sir,
let me
that's
know.
all your team.
all he is a Canadian with a big nose. He talks like this.
Sir,
And
that's
him,
all
no,
your team.
stop.
Don't call my name at all. I have stroll on none of my
You're lucky Nikita Mazepin is not an F1. I feel like other than him, Lance Stroll is like prime enemy number one to me.
Serious.
People who get into a sport just because of their parents' money real bother me. Because I know
Michael,
like
if you want to send me a team by the time, and not take a ticket, send me a team and I'll pay it up if you want. If you're brave, I could put up a team.
team one is Ocon, Bottas, you put Bottas,
Big up
It
my
is
guy.
money. This is only because of the money.
Norris, Hamilton, and who's that?
Right,
Alonso.
so Norris. So it's Norris, Hamilton, Leclerc, Bottas, Ocon. Now, you see this team, Carissa, you cannot slander this team, right?
Just slander
See-
Bottas. I'm sure you could find somebody better for 9 million.
You can slander
Whoa,
team
whoa,
2,
whoa.
right? Slander team 2. Now, team 2, I'm letting you all pick my team 2 for me, right? You all are going to do my final team
You
selection
have
on team,
Bottas and
team.
both teams.
right? No,
I
well,
wouldn't put the same driver on.
Yeah, but Bottas can
Hey, no.
finish.
He could what?
He can finish.
go ahead.
Finish a race, that's true. If we're looking at
not an Alfa
if we're
Romeo.
looking for the phantom points, I think I could see him consistently qualifying in top 10, boy.
Hey, what I tell you no, Doug?
Maybe,
Not an
New
maybe
car, new man.
Not an
Yeah.
Alfa.
not in the Alpha or the Strongs, nah. Maybe
But it's
that.
not the same Alpha, or they can have this argument with me until
No,
after
sir.
this Christmas.
The Alpha not there. The Alpha breakdown for the whole of
And right
Barcelona.
now, he Chinese teammate Zhu looking much better than him in that car.
Zoo, yeah?
Man,
So,
you Joe.
Go on, you Joe.
so however you pronounce his name, I know
Fighting
Z for
wild.
you.
Alright, run it. So what we doing, nigga? Now,
Right,
change
so
up
I'm
the
gonna
subject.
edit up the team 2, right? Only team 2 we changing because I don't like the I don't really like the slander that a particular
Yeah.
person sent. I don't like Carissa's on the team now. Carissa, you're part of the crew, and if you're not comfortable with how it's looking,
I'm telling you
Oh.
from now, and I'm saying it big.
Hey,
If
this is not
Carlos
based on
signs
if you
in
like.
this season, just remember I said so.
If
say that again.
If Carlos signs, if Mercedes is not performing, Carlos Sainz is gonna win the championship this year.
Failure.
Oh wow. Okay, so on the 808 on the 17th of March 2022, right? Big claims. All right, no problem.
Wait, so you're gonna put Sainz over Max?
I quicker get
Right,
mocked.
right, really?
I feel like I
Done.
need to.
Done,
I
that
have
Hamilton.
faith in Carlos, and I find it
I have
depends
faith
on
in
how the
Carlos,
first
but I
race.
don't have faith in that car.
I have faith in the Ferrari. This I won't say faith, but I
have
feel like
faith
the
in
Ferrari
Carlos, but I don't
doing
have faith
things
in the
this year.
Ferrari just yet.
No.
I mean, I would like to see a Max and Carlos head to head. That would look decent. Not in necessarily in terms of the championship per se, but them
like
competing
contract.
with a race
Yeah,
against.
that would be
Tickets for
intensely fun.
speeders.
Yeah, I just want Carlos to win so he could start singing Smooth Operator some more after races.
Michael, send me a picture of your team now, real quick, so I can pay it up by the time. Antonio, send me a
I can
picture of your
share
team
screen
now.
if
If
you
you can
want,
share your
because I
screen.
have it up.
Yeah. Share screen pic here before we go. Yeah, share screen now
I'm
before
gonna
we
make
go.
a team, you know. I could never
What
commit.
do you mean? You have to make a team. You can't be in the air. All this slander.
I make a team every year for Premier League and do it for 2 weeks, and then that's it. My phone be
No, well,
dinging.
this time you have a support
and
system.
nothing.
Now, well, you have a support system this time. You have a crew now. Trust me. When you're with a crew like this, you will keep doing it. You'll keep pushing it.
Do you have any prize for this? Like, you know how there's this
Yeah.
prize that nobody ever will be able to achieve?
Yeah.
I mean, we can make a little. Yeah, we can do a
What's the prize? What's the prize?
How many
Yeah,
fun?
we should make a prize between the 5 of us. Yeah.
Again,
I
All
would
right.
that.
Do when I get something.
You will never get Ocon jersey. I feel that's
Oh
great.
my goodness.
When I get a jersey, the remaining people will have to put up the pay to buy a team jersey of choice for whoever wins. I feel like that's fair.
Boom. Right. So that's set
Like
in
that's it.
stone, cemented. Right. That's it. Right.
I will
So I
take
will take a
mine.
Ocon, right? Medium
Yeah.
Ocon, right?
But
Medium.
mind you,
I want a a hammy.
Mind you,
Those
right?
expensive.
Just saying, if it is you take a Mercedes team jersey from this year, that's £89. You gotta multiply
Yeah,
it
there's
by
a mortgage.
If we buy them,
No, Michael getting hot.
if we
Michael
buy
getting
them,
hot.
it ain't gonna be so
Yeah,
bad.
a picture.
If we round it up
No,
to
Ma-
900, shipping, okay, let me put it at 1,000, clearing it and everything. So every person will have to basically pay 250.
Well, we could agree now, Michael will just get hot. Right? We could agree now, Michael.
But you know winning. You know winning.
That is sick.
No, but not. I like that. That's fair. So we'll put up an organizer jersey for the winner. Right. I like that. So anybody want to share the teams real quickly before I jump in
Yeah, that's
for a proceed?
Yo, I have to
Okay,
head
share
out.
it.
for mine still load.
Oh yeah, no problem, Carissa. No problem. Thanks so much for coming through.
For the next week.
Right, yeah, next week, same time, same place. We'll happy. And thanks so much for your input and insight. Thanks a lot.
Bye, guys.
She run
Take
as
care.
soon as she said, kick out this screw. Kick out this screw.
Right.
So-
my team's finally loaded up there. So I'm gonna share screen now.
Yeah,
Right,
there's
sir.
a, yeah.
Ireland, bro.
I'll
Yeah,
let
boy.
you all
Signs
in on the genius.
All
Right,
right,
so
hold it up here. Boom.
Hey, boy.
Right, so you see in my team there.
Right. Ooh. All right.
I'll send you a screenshot on my team.
Yeah, can send it to me? Then I'll pay it up. Yes, sir. All right. Walk us through each and every
Right,
one,
so
Mike,
team one.
and your thought process.
Right, so team one, no problem. So team one, I put Norris. Norris is a good driver. I think he's consistently in the points. He will definitely be beating Daniels. He'll be getting me points there as well. As I said, he's consistently gonna be in the top 10, especially in the top 5, I think. So that's why Norris is there. Signs, more or less the same reason. And I turboed him because I think he's gonna perform better than Norris, as well as he's gonna be performing better than Leclerc. Because I was reading an article and I was saying that they had some infighting in Ferrari, trying to figure out who they should be focusing on more, be it Charles or Sainz, because Sainz was just performing better. The next
Yeah.
so y'all will be happy about that. I think Ocon is generally a good driver. Yes, he's usually in the points, but on the lower side of it.
Mhm.
But I think he's consistent enough, so he could definitely be one of those drivers to make a streak. So we'll see. I might change him later on, but this team really make out of necessity any money. Then I have Gasly. Gasly has been performing really well. I think he could do really good. So he's another strong driver that's affordable. And then I have Latifi, and Latifi was literally just because that's all I could afford.
Right. I
I
thought
chose
up.
Mercedes as my constructor.
Woo.
Because I know Mercedes is going to be a lot of points. So I chose Mercedes as the constructor and made the sacrifice with a couple of the drivers. So if I wouldn't have Latifi, I'd have somebody else because I don't really think Latifi would be pulling that much points. We had to wait and see. I think after maybe the first 2 races, I might swap him out for Albon based on how we see Albon performing. So that we get some street points there.
Yeah.
Team two, I'm a boy in it at the helm of it.
Right,
Because
Bottas. Yeah.
I put back Ocon because I think money-wise, although I might change him, I had to make that decision and see. I put back Norris because I think he's consistent. I might swap him for Daniel, but I'm hesitant to put Daniel anywhere. Bottas, I think he's consistent enough. And then money-wise too. And then Shumi because that's where my money was going. And I put Ferrari as the constructor. So why it is I had to compromise with Schumacher and Bottas is because I put Lewis. That's like quarter my budget going already. Another quarter my budget going already by putting him. Then Ferrari take an extra chunk of it. So I really had to play catch up with the rest of the drivers and the money I had remaining. So that's that. And then third team, I have Russell and Leclerc. So I think that's the only team. Aston Martin. I had Vettel and it changed to
Right. Yeah.
Hulkenberg because he's out. So I may swap that. I'll make that decision because at the end of the day, Hulkenberg is only gonna be there to stand in. Then I have Gasly and Ocon, and then I have McLaren as the constructor. I think it's a good car. It will pull, and I would not choose Red Bull for anything. Plain talk, bad manners.
Right.
Yeah. I wouldn't choose Red Bull for nothing. See, I have no Red Bull drivers.
Yeah.
Maybe bite my tongue and do it later on in the season, depending on how. As of right now, I want nothing to do with Red Bull. And my loyalty to Mercedes is true because I have them as the constructor on one team, and in the other teams I have a Mercedes driver. So that's just how it runs with me and my teams.
No, I love it. I like in team 2.
Yeah, I wouldn't say biasness, but I think is that loyalty.
Yeah. Well, Antonio, we know better than to use loyalty in fantasy, right? But we'll see how this goes. We know better than that. We know better. Antonio, want to share your team real quick? Share your screen real quickly.
Not really, you know. That's not it.
My shit.
This is not FPL, not the FPL team. I know you don't want to share that.
No, I can share that tonight, you know. I share that.
Yeah, because you make 100 and something. Watch you now. Big boy.
Alright, so my team has to redo actually because of the guys who got COVID and all that jazz.
Okay.
But
As Rick is send yours in the WhatsApp group and I'll pay it up.
Okay, sure.
yeah, bring up Ezra team. I'll see Ezra team because if I spam my team.
I don't understand that. What kind of heaviness is that measure, right?
Sure. I saw you were like, okay, you know what? I'll just screenshot it, is it?
Yeah, screenshot send it to me and I'll pay it up. You can always walk us through it. Right?
And send it in the chat. How do I send it to you? How do I send it to you?
You can send it to the chat and I will bring it up.
Oh, okay.
I'll pay it up. But I like your team too, Michael. Team 1 strong-ish in terms of the constructor you went with, and then to me, I think you picked the best low-key drivers that could, pull up together and get you the best points. I like it as a B team, but team 2, I like team 2. I think team 2 solid. Of course, based on my minimal knowledge.
The only reason why I wouldn't I might switch it because the first team is the one that's joined in all of the in the different leagues.
Right.
So I agree. Team 2 is a strong team too. My only quips with it is really Schumacher.
Right.
And Bottas. And I don't really have a choice because of how money went.
Yeah.
I might switch Schumacher for Magnussen, his teammate. Because Magnussen is the more experienced driver between the two.
I have no problems here, boy, sending that thing to you.
All right, no problem. We'll just walk us through it if you want. Just give us the names real quickly. Where you pick.
Okay. But do you say it had a share? It's just a way I can share the screen, right?
Yeah, you can share your screen depending on what you're using. If you're using your laptop or phone, I think you can use from your phone too. I'm not too sure the phone, but laptop, yeah, you can share your screen.
I think I could share my screen here. Boom. Yeah.
No, yeah.
Window.
Yeah, choose your window and then it will.
Yeah. No.
Nothing yet. Antonio, you're frightened.
Yeah, boy.
I'm coming in.
Same thing with the FPL, you know, but you see how he gets on tonight, you want to share first.
But share yours, Antonio, while I figure it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up mine.
And then you'll help me out finish, pick off my team 2, and I leave it just like that. I good with my team 1.
Yes, sir.
My screen.
Right, boom.
All right, so
Way Inception.
okay.
All right, run us pretty hungry there, Antonio. Let me see.
All right, well, you know, I think your boy O'Connor's a sweetheart ever since I told you watching now.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Pause, but yeah, understand where you're coming.
No. Based on his
Pause.
backstory, but based on his
Right,
backstory.
right.
So that's why I always vouch him and I'll pick him on my team, to be honest. But Hamilton is Hamilton, my favorite driver, besides, well, I believe it's Bottas. It's not Bottas at all. Don't listen to Ezra.
Hey,
For the turbo driver, I went with Saints because Ferrari have a point to prove this year, and I actually went with the double because I picked my constructor as Ferrari as well because I realized I get points if both driver and constructor, you know. And I feel like he would always be up in the top 10 and top 5. So
Wait, you getting points
Why
about the same constructor and driver?
well, I banking on my constructor finishing thing and my driver as well. So
Ah, okay.
yeah. Because I realized the minus
Double up, yeah.
after realizing the minuses were so hefty, I had to double back a little bit now.
Wait, so no, explain that. So because this is my first time playing fantasy. Well,
No, but this is my
properly
first
playing
time too.
fantasy.
So after what I heard you all saying just now, what Darryl was explaining, I just went with the constructor because of the points system, and if again, it's like low key points that you didn't even know you were get.
The
Like
streak points, yeah.
So that's why for a car that could most likely give me that. So Ferrari, and well, the boy Saints, I believe, I could
Sainz is
finish
gonna be
in.
consistent.
Yeah, so why not? And turbo driver, yeah.
Yeah, he's my turbo driver too.
You see, Magnes, I really should have him there, but free to give me some minus, you know. I've been honest as well. Yeah. I have him there
Yeah,
because
the
I budget.
potential too.
Yeah, the potential to give you a minus.
Yeah.
That's what honest. But you
And
see,
he
the one
has
person,
to any hash driver is a real risk.
yeah. Fast
They
like
will
in
get points for
fast like
finishing,
in Norwich.
but that's about it.
Hash like in the Norwich of F1 horses. They're fighting, but they're just there. They're there.
yep.
The boy Bottas, so of course, you know, can't disrespect the man. It's at least okay driver. Man, a podium stays the inside the fighter. But in this car, I know.
Yeah, in the Alpha, I don't see it.
I feel like he could pull off a top 10 though.
Yeah, he will maybe make up top 10 every now and then in the season, you know. Top 10 is not impossible. To say he getting streaks and that kind of thing is unlikely.
But for that price, I'm not sure. I might get rid of him because I have him in all my teams. But that price range, I might sell him and bring in somebody else. Team 2. Boy, I really like because I like how aggressive he is as a driver from basically what I saw. He always like to push my way. I actually went for the do turbo driver for Norris because he is Norris. I like Norris too now, boy. Been watching Norris. My sister started watching the show as the Drive to Survive as well. And we all agree that Norris has strong potential now, boy.
Yeah, he does. And he's young.
Yeah,
He have plenty to
young.
grow still. He's my age.
And the man came in, I was like, who's this baby face? 5-year-old going on race here, boy.
Yeah, boy.
He's good. Albon. I like Albon ever since in his when he had no trouble. But he could have made a little podium and stuff, you know, but he thinks he had a little dispute, a little rabs with Lewis after he got on the track twice. So
both times he was going to podium.
Both times he got the podium, he does.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
So yeah, I like Gasly. See business cursor, I like Gasly. I feel like he's a dark horse, to be honest. And he
Yeah,
will
he's a
be
good
getting.
one.
Of course, the car for this constructor is Mercedes.
My team's similar to that team there.
Bottas, you like Bottas? Any team, man?
Nah, but that's not my team.
On this tier team, well, this tier team, to be very honest with you, I just made this tier team because I just wanted that tier team. So I have Ezra.
You could not do that last year. Have Bottas and Hamilton on the same team. You didn't have
Yeah,
that
you can
amount of
afford
cash.
to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't do it before. No.
You could do it, but they'll be driving a house. Construction in your house.
A Tita.
I have everybody's least favorite, apparently. Somebody's least favorite, Lance Stroll, Daddy's boy. On this team, Alonso,
Yeah,
he's
so
a
about
veteran,
you.
to be honest. So I said, why not have Alonso? But then again, his vehicles are the driving too, so I don't really expect them to be making 20 points.
Right.
Hamilton, of course, the crew on this team, turbo driver.
That team kind of.
Yeah, it's just like a team because it's just there and I was like, I'm gonna run.
Right.
No, I like it, it's not too. I mean, I'm an underdog kind of guy in a one. I like it. It
I would
mix.
take out.
I like the mixture.
Don't change it now. What you doing?
No, just
No.
Kick Stroll.
Yeah.
Easy thinker, man.
Passing every other I'm saying. Alonso. I mean, I can make this team the
For the two horse drivers, trust me.
and get 2 big stink minus. No breaking, my boy. One man's favorite player, my favorite driver. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
What you thinking about Nico?
Nico, how
Because
can
a
make
good
them?
driver, but he's just gonna switch back to veteran.
No, yeah, he wouldn't stay long. Yeah, he wouldn't.
So basically, you have Seb. So you run your Seb then.
Yeah, you could run Seb. I had Seb on my team and it switched to Hulkenberg and I considered leaving it.
Yeah, okay, so I said, but can you change your teams on every race?
Yeah, on every race weekend you can change your teams.
Yeah, you could sort out the team, and you should. But that's what the show is for. We will try to make sure we are reminding everybody to please check your team.
But ourselves, update your team.
Nah, I gonna run my team down to the dregs. Dog.
Guys, what the thing there?
You're gonna set and leave. You set it and leave.
Yeah,
All right.
I did autopilot only way.
Some auto pick on this?
Nah.
No.
Normally we like to do auto pick around and see what they are.
Yeah, just to see what the algorithm says. Yeah.
Oh, close your eyes.
I see you did you made a comparison between Haas and Norwich. I think if we had to compare McLaren to a football team, McLaren would be Manchester United.
Now here's what's going on, right? So you was talking about Ferrari now, boy. I was going to draw Man United to Ferrari because they had the money, but there's no no system. I was changing the system now, boy. They don't know what to do. So and they were doing anyway. So
And who's that Mercedes? I know that Mercedes. Other than the Arsenal, man.
The Mercedes consistency, you gotta go with a Man City or something, a team that was giving you a league. They're always challenging something, boy, winning something. So
just now I want to shout out our boy Linesh, all the way from Mauritius. Thanks for coming through. Don't forget the FPL fantasy in about an hour's time, right? Linesh, we'll see you there. Thanks for jumping in on the F1 fantasy, guys. I'll have the code below. Please, you still have some time to jump in the fantasy league, join all the raps, right? And we'll be highlighting everyone each week who's on top, right? Yeah, no, first time for most of us, Linesh. First time for most of us. So thanks for joining us on this journey. And you can talk to me anytime and we'll guide you. Thanks, Linesh. Right, consider that tunes.
I'm picking my last driver here.
Right, no problem.
I'm going to pick a cheap driver and go with a better vehicle. Sorry, Ezra, but
I'm not to do me, Lando. They already decisive.
yeah. Damn, Macaroni, Ford McLaren. All right, so I'll stay there.
And you see, that's the problem. That is the problem. The budget.
All right, so this is the team that we're gonna hate because this man here.
Oh wait, I'm on put. The Maxine, dog. It's hard.
I was kidding.
Woo! Now, Michael, go sign up. Michael, don't leave it. Please, Michael, don't leave. Don't leave.
Go sign
I
out.
see
Go sign out.
the vein pop up. Oh, that's right.
Wait, what you doing?
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. This man gonna have real points.
Yeah, of course. I might make a 13 with him, and it makes sense. It makes
He's
sense.
a driver to triple cap too, eh? If you're doing
Yeah, yeah. Let it be real. Let it be real. Woo, like.
Anytime my boy driving, anytime my boy Hamilton on the Baku, you had to look for a different cap.
I was gonna say I didn't want to say it. It was in my brain, but I didn't want to say it. Thank
I
you.
don't mind.
Antonio,
I could swallow my pride and get to the team with him. I could swallow my pride, but not in the initial stages. Not in the initial stages at all.
Yeah, not first race though. Forget you, brother man.
Yeah, not
So,
here at all.
I can share our screen now.
Right. Let me roll. Let's get you in the action here, man.
You know, I feel like somebody.
Let's get you in the action. Roll through. Lenesh, if you're still there, who were the players you went with, Lenesh? I mean, same players, Reese's, who you went with?
Okay, this thing trolling though. Forget this shit. I could just call out my team.
Yeah, call out the team.
All right, so my first team, we had a guy, the main man, Hamilton.
Of course.
Then we have Norris,
Right.
turbo driver, of course. We have Gasly. Then we have Ocon, Bottas, and McLaren as the constructor.
Okay.
Then the second team, Lando. Then we have Leclerc, which he's the turbo driver. Then we have, well, Hulkenberg was supposed to be Seb, Albon, and Williams, just because for the fun of it. And then we have Ocon, and then Mercedes as the constructor.
Okay.
Then we have the last team is Lando again, turbo driver, Lewis.
Okay.
Then we have Yuki, Tsunoda, Gasly. Both teams, both of them were on it.
Right.
Gasly and Yuki. I think that will be like you had to get some points out of them in this.
I minus points there, boy.
No, they're not minus. And here's why, because we have Magnussen in our Ferrari constructor. That's the true team.
All right, solid. So I want your help before we sign off here. Fix up my team too for me. I'm letting you all help him. So let's now, just now. So the Lanesh give us his team here, right? So we have team one here. I like how I told you face curve there. So you have Verstappen, Hulkenberg, Schumacher, Tsunoda, and the Mercedes as the constructor. Now the only thing we will say with this team. Actually, no, Michael, go ahead. Critique that team there. Gently, that's my boy. So gently, critique that team.
Okay, so how I watching it is that I personally wouldn't put Latifi or Schumacher there. But why he put him there is because all his money went into Verstappen and Mercedes.
Right.
So Latifi and Schumacher were probably all he could afford. But at the end of the day, Hulkenberg really is standing for Vettel. That's a good pick as well. Tsunoda questionable. If it was me, I'd probably maybe take out Schumacher and Tsunoda and get somebody like maybe one of the Ferrari drivers or one of the McLaren drivers, so that we have at least one and next to Verstappen, you have a next consistently in the top 10 driver. And then, suck salt and get some cheap person.
Well, Tsunoda's 8.5. So what's a good alternative for him? If you was given you could get rid of Tsunoda. I'm sure he might. I wonder if how much you have in the bank because
you wanna test. You wanna do it too, right?
Yeah, just edit out the team, man, so you could actually see exactly how much you have in the bank and exactly how we could improve that team.
Yeah, to make his team your team.
Yeah, right. I'll make his team my team. All right, no problem. So let's do that real quick. Right, you see, Lenesh, you helping you out, right? No problem. Hold on, let me exit off quickly.
we
I'm
Right.
hands on all three teams, yeah.
So Mercedes here. Just call out his team up while on our final players here real quick.
Latifi.
all right,
So
Latifi.
Verstappen was one, right? Verstappen.
Yeah, Verstappen. Then
Latifi, right?
Latifi.
Mm-hmm. Sonoda,
Hulkenberg.
Hulkenberg, right?
Schumacher and
Who am I-
Sonoda.
And Schumacher.
The men at the
Schumacher.
bottom.
Yeah, that man no
Yeah,
hands.
Schumacher there.
Right. So,
Yeah, 1.5 to play with.
right. So he could more than take out Sonoda, I think, and bring in
I would
Butter.
actually take out Schumacher because he in the Haas.
All right. So we'll take out
I mean,
Schumacher.
Tsunoda in an AlphaTauri, which actually is a midfielder. So
Yeah.
once he drives the car itself is gonna keep him in the midfield.
Right.
So far I see him, he
He
making
doesn't make
points.
as much
He making
mistakes
points
as he
from
did last year.
Mercedes and he making points from just Verstappen.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. He will get the Verstappen points. He will get no. You'll get points. What I just saying, you'll get some good points from Verstappen and Mercedes for sure.
Yeah, for sure. He getting good points there.
How about this
We
gun?
have 8.
Yeah, you have 8 though. The options kind of tight. What about getting rid of? So we got rid of Schumacher. What about Hulkenberg? Because Hulkenberg would just be a stand-in, and
Yeah,
we
but
get somebody stronger.
that's for Seb. That's for Seb. Seb is a real good driver.
But is the Aston Martin going to put him in a position to get the points?
Yeah,
I mean, true.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because they were all right. So we'll leave him. Because I would have say swap him out because he's not going to be, the main driver right through.
If you
It's
take
only
out,
for a few.
if you take out Hulkenberg, you're gonna go up to what, 19 mil?
19, and you could get somebody decent for that.
But you
But
still
then
had to get a driver for five, at least 5.5.
Yeah, somebody cheap. Yeah,
who's the
somebody cheap.
cheapest driver you could get? Magnussen.
Magnussen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you do 5.5 for Mag, you're still gonna have like what? 14 points.
14. Yeah,
14
that's
flat.
plenty.
You could get for 14.
14, you could get Daniel Ricciardo.
No, Daniel
Yeah.
is 14.5.
Yeah. Oh, shucks. Yeah. Well, then you have to come down the road. You could get Alonso, Ocon. Yeah, Ocon and Alonso. That's not bad.
And then you could go up. So pick Ocon or Alonso, and you could remove Hulkenberg. Wait, yeah, remove him.
Yeah, we got rid of.
Sorry, Magnussen.
Yeah,
And you
Magnussen.
could pick
Yeah,
someone
7.5.
Right.
So you can
And
get
then
Alex Albon.
Alex Albon.
Yeah, you could get Albon. Boom. That ain't too bad.
And you use up your whole money there.
Yeah.
That team was
And you still have a solid team.
That's a good team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you lose Latifi for Albon. Same Williams, but Albon is the more experienced driver.
Right.
We drop Hulkenberg. No, we still have Hulkenberg.
No, we don't have Hulkenberg.
No, we got rid of Hulkenberg. Yeah, we got
Yeah,
Hulkenberg.
Ocon, Latifi.
We kept Sonoda.
Yeah.
Anyway, this Williams back-to-back kind of scary though.
So we should have get rid of Latifi there. But then who? It have nobody else. Like you have to go back to the Schumacher. I ain't too feeling that Schumacher.
Yeah. Anything better than Haas right now, no?
Oh wow.
Anything better than Haas right now.
So you'll clear up that now. And I want your help now with a team too. Whatever you all say, I go in with and save in that. So whatever you all pick, I go in with that. So let's go. Team 2, my team 2. And I'll make a team 3 in prime.
Wait, hold on. How you feel about like Red Bull?
I don't feel anything about anything. Now letting you all pick this. Anything you'll tell me I put in. If you'll tell me Max up in Max, anything you'll tell me I put in.
Right.
I
So
said
we want red.
Ferrari is one of the safest and one of the best constructors you could choose. Because that way you have money after to pick drivers, but with also that is still a strong enough team that you know they're gonna be consistently in the points.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say Ferrari is a safe bet.
What do you think about that, Ezra?
I like that I like that. But I also think Red Bull could be that person. You might not have as much money, but you'll know for sure you'll score some points with that Red
But let's
Bull.
go fit now. Let's go fit. Let's go fit. Let's go fit. Red Bull. Boom. We back. Let's go fit. Play recess now. So we have to scroll. I know you have to scroll a bit now. So let's scroll. Talk to me.
I say go
I'm
for
not
one of the
picking it.
Ferrari drivers, unless
Yeah.
they want Max or
Yeah.
Lewis.
Nah, a Carlos.
Yeah, I say Carlos.
A Carlos.
Okay. 50 left.
You can jump in. You can drop Lando there.
Okay.
And Tazar, we can drop Lando.
Hey, Lando always fit in though. Lando's the man though. Last space for the British man anyway.
Right, so we had to do what? 3 more drivers. How much?
They
money
can
we have?
put your turbo on any of those two.
Right. Yes. 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 You could put that to one of those. Oh, you always tell me who just now.
How much you have? 30.
Gasly.
Gasly, yeah. Fair. Wait, I feeling Ocon over Gasly, you know.
All right. All right.
Yes. Yeah, okay, true, yeah.
No, the only reason I wasn't going to counter anybody's choices, but I didn't want to I wanted this team to be real different from a main team.
So wait, that's probably similar to your team already.
Kinda. Right, but go ahead. True, because of the prices, so you can't really do much variation. Fine, so we'll go with the open. I index. Go ahead. So we have 22 and
You can
2.
come back to Gasly if anything.
Right, 22 and 2.
No, they had the money for Gasly, and they could still get somebody decent after Gasly.
Let me see. Yeah, we have 9 left.
Oh wait, but wait, that's the day you safe though. 9 you can get
And Valtteri.
Bottas. Yeah, that's it. Perfect. You're sure getting points though.
You
I
get
think
plenty
that's-
of points because you
that's
had the
a real
Red
good point.
car.
I got a really good team though.
Yeah, for real.
I can see top. They have everybody get top 10. You don't know where what points. Like
Yeah,
I mean,
everybody
but
there had
that's
top 10 potential. Big man thing.
All right, who we turbo driving?
I will always say Sainz over Norris.
Ezra?
Hey, do you ask that question?
All right, Antonio?
Antonio, we say Bottas.
I know that. Because I'm trying to get a vote here. I know one vote Norris, one vote Sainz.
Somebody in the chat just vote.
You had to break that vote there for me, Antonio.
Yeah, you gotta be devil's advocate.
Yeah, dog. Rock, paper, scissors, it.
Let's see. I double up on Ferrari too, but I can't look past. Norris is man can handle the McLaren though. This is a hard car to drive whatever, but he could handle himself. So I feel like he could.
Listen, he get points for every race. So there's only one race he didn't get points, and that's the accident that they got in.
True.
Well, all right, Norris win. That's what I heard in. I heard Norris win. Right.
No, but
So-
Sainz scoring every race last year.
Yes, Science also scoring every race.
Well, I still have time. Don't worry. Still have
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we comparing. So I just want to compare. So we just want to look at my team one quickly. So team one have Ocon, Bottas, Leclerc, Norris, Hamilton, and Alpine was my constructor.
Constructor.
Honestly, yeah, the teams are constructed, to be honest.
I know you don't like the constructor. I know, but I might if it's with picks. I will see. I will look for something else, and I'm gonna make a very mad razzle dazzle team 3, and I will show you all that
You do that now?
next week. No, I'll do that next week. No, I'll leave it because I have some crazy ideas for team 3 that are going to.
Okay.
I
okay.
have a consultant, I have an external consultant. So I'm gonna
And
make.
then for the 2 horse drivers, and then Hamilton and Max on the same team, and then he can drop what do you call it? A Williams constructor.
Nah, don't worry, you will see, because I have some good plans for Team 3. And then, of course, what we'll do, we will make a separate league just for our crew here, and we'll keep the viewers abreast of what's going on with the Ravs and who's going to buy me an Oakland jersey, right? So we'll keep abreast of that. So before we move on, before we cut off, before we sign off, Ezra, Antonio, Mike, any last words, any piece of advice, anything else, any play research you think that anybody shouldn't overlook? Anything at all for the fantasy, or just in terms of any for the viewers, what they should look for the first time viewers who might be I think we hyped it up enough for the first time viewers who might be trying to watch some of the race Sunday. Anything that they should be looking out for, what they will enjoy the most of the bit. There's something before we go. So we start to Ezra. Anything at all? Any
Yeah,
advice
well,
for you? Anything?
for this Sunday here, as I said last time, like this is the new era of F1 racing, new cars, and it's the best time to get involved. Like, it's real excitement. The whole world basically gonna be watching these races, especially this first one here. When it comes to seeing where the cars are in terms of performance and things, so I really, really think that you should just jump on board on this for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Even if you don't have a team or anything at this point, just jump
Just
on,
for the
watch the race,
excitement.
see what we get excited about. Because you're gonna see these cars going around a corner at 300 and something kilometers, and you'll be like, what the hell? So even if you're not into the whole thing as yet, you don't want to create a team and thing, just watch it and get an idea of what it is we're into. The most exciting parts of any race is the first, I would say, 5 laps, because on the first few laps is utter chaos because everybody starts off next to each other. You always have somebody touching somebody, some accident. You might see a man squeeze through a gap, all that kind of thing. So the first couple laps are some of the most exciting laps of
And
the
the
race.
most dangerous, because that guy,
And the most dangerous.
man on fire, Hey, whoa.
Yeah, boy. That was no Magnussen, his teammate Grosjean.
Yeah,
He's
so from Haas too.
Yeah, he was a Haas guy. So definitely watch at least if it is you're not into Formula One just yet, I would say just watch the first 5 races, get an understanding of what the thing is, and wet your foot more after that.
And the fun of it is actually having conversations after, so
Exactly.
And we will be definitely reviewing and previewing all the action for you for sure. Antonio, I know you muted, but anything? Go ahead. What's that?
We could do like a call during the race.
Yeah.
Well, we see it depends.
Well, football.
Yes, so next weekend we could do something. Next weekend. Sorry.
Wait, but next weekend is
No, it's international break, so we get to go international break next weekend. Yeah.
And we have back-to-back races back-to-back races this time around.
Yeah. But we'll put aside some designated time on certain Sundays, and maybe let's say last 10 laps for the first 5, something. So we'll do something nice just to keep the buzz going. Antonio, I know you're new to it, but anything that you pick up yet to the fantasy wise that you want to share before we go, any piece of advice or play a racer you think people on recently research somebody that they're not considering anything at all?
You remember the advice you was given? You're saying as long as Bottas on your team, you're cool.
Yeah, that sounds like him,
Yes, I went to the Bahrain. I only bagged the man because he was doing good in the Benz. Now, as I said, you can't take a man out of Benz, pay him be 14 and expect him to do the same thing. So take that logic into it. So see me like Magnesium man thing, you had to take them out of grain and salt because them men they spin up the track in the first 2 minutes. So what are you doing? Go for your more experience players, fantasy sake. Go for your safe, your constructors. As I said, Ferrari looking like a safe bet this year for sure. They're looking like they're up there. Lewis said he has something to prove. Let me see if he can back his word. We all know Mercedes talk about the sad boy, this boy cry wolf kind of thing, and then pop up and So yeah, they have this knack for that, but definitely look out for your Hamilton and your Sunday. Ask I wanted to you all the Mr. Saturday. I'm not sure. Russell, so we'll see what going on.
He has something to prove.
Yeah, I feel like he has something to prove, so I want to see what he's coming.
Yeah,
so
he has more to prove than Hamilton, in all honesty.
Yeah, for the new viewer, like so freshman like myself who know into this sport, look out for the men who has something to prove, like the underdogs, I said, the Russells, the dark horse also, as Chris said, the Pierre Gasly, who there, but they have the vigor, they have the drive, they have everything that way. So
Yep.
that's
So the cars are a lot closer in terms of distance this year too when they're driving.
Yep.
kind of scary in a way. As a -20, that could be your podium on your -20 right there, you know.
All it
You
takes
know.
is one man to touch an next man wheel.
Yeah.
That's
All it takes is one man wheel to touch our next man wheel.
right. When you
and
have
that's
few men
all
that
their
can
points
come back,
gone.
when you have few men that can come back on the back and come up on a podium. So you
Max
see.
is one of them men, because Max get crashing to at the he starts at Sochi.
And Perez too.
Yeah.
Perez.
Yeah.
But that's when you have the illegal car. So you know.
Yeah, but even Gasly too. Gasly had a thing when he went and he started off in the back of the pack too. Like
Yeah.
he did
But
really
there
well.
was some race last year that Russell, I think it was Belgium, or it is Valtteri, had sliding into everybody. Max had lose like half of his side put or something like that. And he still was able to finish. No, well, that race he didn't do that well, but Max,
Yeah, don't worry. Do come bust into flames there. Don't worry. It's all right. You can tell us in the group. Tell us in the WhatsApp group, right? There's a safe space. They won't sell you out. All right, so guys, we're looking to sign up there. Of course, those who follow FPL, of course, you know we do FPL show at about 9:30 or so. Antonio is excited to show off his 101 points that he scored. I want to, of course, thank my guests up. Thank Chris. We had Chris on earlier. Great insight. Thank Michael and Ezra. Of course, you'll see us every Thursday. Roughly, we'll try for every Thursday. Maybe we'll see. Looking like set in stone every Thursday. We'll try to. And of course, we'll have some action to talk about. We'll have some points to show off, some gluten to do. And we'll see who pick the best team. And of course, guys, my solid piece of advice, always click that save button. Please, do not get distracted. The same thing that you do in FPL apply to the F1. And do not wait till last minute, right? Please, when you think you have time, you don't have time. Do it right now. Of course, like, share, and subscribe, please. Antonio?
If anybody interested in jumping on the show, feel free to message us.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Anybody that wanna, I'm trying to reach some other Twitter guys to come in. Just the time zones is what causing issues. But Sundays, I think we could get some people to jump on. So yeah, thanks for that plug, Antonio. Anybody that want to jump on, please. We don't bite. Let us know. DM me, Twitter, below everything. You can find me easily, and we'll bring you on to the show. Again, just want to thank the crew and look out for the FPL show in a bit. Thanks very much, guys. Take care. Happy picking.
Night, everyone.